Well, it's that time of the year again where get these things cleaned up and get them out. So I'd like to just kind of go over a lot of the misinformation that is circulating online. Some of it is dangerous information. So the first thing I'd like to talk about, probably the most important, is tire pressure. One of the things I see more than anything is people are overinflating their tires. The sidewall of this tire says to inflate it to 80 psi when it's cold. It's just way too much pressure, and I can back up that statement as we go on in this video, and I'll explain and show you where the actual information should be found. Also, there are imperfections in the sidewalls that come from the manufacturer. So you see an indentation or a bulge in your tire and you think there's something wrong with it, and you take it to the dealer and the dealer says, no, that's normal. Well, some of it is. So knowing what is normal and what is damage is very important as well. And if you got a bulge, an obvious bulge, like in this image, then that is breakdown of the rubber. It's coming apart and that tire needs to be replaced right away. If your tread is starting to get a twist, it's not a perfect line anymore, those are the belts that are starting to break down. That tire needs to be replaced. And if you're getting cracking in the sidewalls as it's drying out, that's another indicator of the tire being too old and it needs to be replaced. When it comes to tire failure, probably one of the biggest causes is underinflated tires. If your tires got too low a pressure, they get hot and then they just start to come apart. Overloaded, another reason for a tire failure. Make sure you know what the load capabilities of your trailer are, your suspension is, and what load you're actually putting on those tires and what the manufacturer says is really allowable and what is safe. Excuse the background noise, I've got a lot of noise in the neighborhood. But let's talk about real information and what is very misleading information. This is the markings on my side of my travel trailer. This is the tire information. It shows my tire size and it shows 80 psi recommended. I'm roughly 8,700 pounds when I ran it across the scale. So if you take that 8,700 pounds and divide it by 4, I get 2,175 pounds. Now that's actually a little bit high because the tongue of the trailer is either sitting on the back bumper, or in my case, the fifth wheel is sitting in the bed of the truck. I'm about 1,200 pounds in my truck. So if you take that out, a little less than 2,000 pounds on each tire. This is the information that I got directly from Goodyear. My tire is the Endurance. It's the ST225/75R15. As I go down the list here, at 2,000 pounds, it shows I'm roughly in the 45 to 50 pounds of pressure that they recommend. So this is where the information just really gets weird. For my travel trailer to say 80 psi recommended, that's just putting too much stress on the trailer. That tire is so hard and so solid. Every pothole, every imperfection in the road, or even getting off road and getting on kind of a rough road, it's just bouncing everything inside of the trailer so much more than it really is necessary. So by lowering down to realistic numbers of 45, 50 psi, the trailer is going to ride so much better. And you're not having that extra stress on the suspension of the trailer either. When it comes to the belts separating and moving, or bulges, one of the main reasons for that is turning really sharp. As you turn sharp, the tires twist. It puts a lot of stress on the tires, on the sidewalls, on the wheels, on the hubs, and the suspension. and that can actually damage the belts. If you need to turn, and sharp turning like getting into campsites, as long as you're on dirt or gravel, you're not going to have a whole lot of pressure because the tires will slide, the gravel will give. But on blacktop, pavement, concrete, you turn really sharp and it's going to slide across that pavement. And as it slides, it can damage those belts and the sidewalls, and that's when you can start getting bulging. You can also get cracking in your suspension. It was really common about 5-6 years ago with Lippert frames, where those leaf springs mount, those welds getting broken, the metal fatigued from all that constant pressure, cracking the metal, cracking the frames. So definitely something to look at. Also, check the torque on your lug nuts. Your lug nuts start to work loose from all that stress and twist. As they work loose, they start to oval out those holes, and you can actually break a wheel, or the wheel will just come right off of the lug nuts, or even start breaking lug nuts. 5 years ago, Lippert was doing these welding right to the frame without any reinforcing, and these were breaking off. We were getting failure, pretty common with these cracking and breaking off. But if yours is gusseted like this, with a gusset on the frame, then this is the newer style. If yours do not have this, I would highly recommend having these reinforced this way, because they do have a tendency to fail eventually, especially with the dual axles. Another failure point that you'll want to pay close attention to is this area. These have a tendency to crack here. MORryde has been really good. I've been hearing they've been replacing these. Any cracking or failure, no matter what year they were made, they're replacing them, just because they have a good reputation and they want to make sure they've got good quality products. So real happy with mine. Inspect really well. Again, check all your pivot bolts. Mine have grease zerks on the back side. Make sure you squirt as much grease as you can in each one of those. So in summary, when it comes to your tires and your chassis, your suspension, make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you know what to inspect for, what to look for. And if you don't, make sure you get it to somebody that can inspect it all. Take it to the dealer or take it to a service shop that does trailers and have all of this inspected. Know what your trailer loads are, know what your tire loads are, and know what the manufacturer recommends for those loads. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you found this informative. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.